Number 4, advertisement. Among popular automobiles, Sturdy Made stand apart. Around the world, hundreds of longtime Sturdy Made owners have signed up for Sturdy Made's Long Distance Club, members of which must have a Sturdy Made they have driven for a total of at least 100,000 miles or 160,000 kilometers. Some members boast of having driven their Sturdy Mades for a total of 300,000 miles. Clearly, if you buy a Sturdy Made, you can rely on being able to drive it for a very long distance. So, these cars around the world, there's a lot of people who own these cars who belong to this long distance club. And to be members of these clubs, they need to have driven their cars for a total of at least 100,000 miles. And there are even some people in the club who say they've driven their cars for 300,000 miles. So that means that if you buy this car, you can rely on being able to drive it for a long distance. We are basing everyone being able to rely on driving this car for a long distance of a few hundred people. A few hundred people in the long run is not a lot of people when you're thinking about how many people are really in the world. A couple hundred of people saying that they've driven this car for a long distance doesn't necessarily mean that everyone who buys this car is going to be able to drive it for a long distance. So I'm looking for that generalization aspect where we're taking it from, okay, some people have said that they've been able to drive this car for a long distance to mean that everyone who has this car can rely on it for a long distance. I'm looking for that generalization idea. Constructed is an argument. The advertisement's reasoning is most vulnerable to criticism on which one of the following grounds? A. It draws a general conclusion from cases selected only on the basis of having a characteristic that favors the conclusion. So I like A a lot because it talks about that generalization aspect that I wanted. B. Its conclusion merely restates the evidence given to support it. We're not restating the evidence, we're not repeating ourselves here, so B is out. C. It fails to clarify in which of two possible ways an ambiguous term is being used in the premises. We don't have one term here being used in two different ways, so C is out. D. The evidence given to support the conclusion actually undermines that conclusion. No, we don't have that idea that we have a premises that actually hurts the conclusion. E. It treats popular opinion as if it constituted conclusive evidence for a claim. We're not relying on popular opinion as proof here, so E's out, and I'm left with A.